Zoom. Happy Fierce Female Friday, everyone. You have heard us talking about it all week. We have two amazing guests with us today who have some super magnificent success stories to share with you today to inspire you. And they're gonna, open the curtain so that you can hear some of the behind the scenes stuff as well. You know, we love the hot, messy middle stuff around here. So get ready for that. As far as Woman Up updates this week, we actually have next Wednesday or next week, we actually have two live events on the third week. That's pretty normal for us. Wednesday, we have our wisdom session, and we'll drop the registration link for that. We have four experts joining us: Suzanne Yost, Lori Namazi, Mia McLeod. I never can say her last name. And Rhonda, I don't have her last name in front of me either. My goodness, is it Friday or what? But we have
a crazy week.
It has been a crazy week. Oh goodness. Well, Sarah's updates will put a cherry on top of the crazy. But we have, Rhonda came to us last year. She was on the virtual stage as an avatar to share part of her story. So we're going to revisit hers because she started her own brokerage in 2019. And of course, we all know Mia. Mia has been on the stage with us several times over the years, whether it's been virtual or on the blog or in person. And she started her brokerage back in 2005. Actually, yesterday was their 16-year business anniversary over at McLeod and Associates. So much knowledge and wisdom in there. And then, of course, we have Suzanne Yost, who has held nearly every position that you could possibly ever imagine inside real estate, from volunteer leadership to selling real estate to all of the amazing leadership roles she's had, as well as she is a big teacher inside the community. She taught one of the courses for the WomanUP Academy on risk management, and she's actually going to moderate the conversation. And then rounding out that fourth position is Lori Namazi, who we've heard little bits of her story over the years as well, but she owns a consulting firm that helps brokerage owners start their brokerage and of course take it to the next level along the way. But she is an ops genius, so she's going to give kind of that, how do we set things up from the get-go to do it well and to do it in a way that's right for business, right for our clients, right for taxes, right for all of the things. So make sure to join us next Wednesday. That's at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We host it on Zoom, so make sure you get registered there. And then, of course, next week we have another weekly live. We have two amazing guests next week. We will unveil those on Monday, so stay tuned for that. Sarah, what's on your list today for updates?
Not much. Just a plain old regular kind of Friday. No, I'm kidding. So we're actually really happy that things are starting to get back to normal and safe, and lots of lower cases, which means that we've been pressing upon the California Department of Public Health to allow open houses. And this week they issued guidance that open houses are available. So that was Wednesday. And our legal team has been amazing at getting all of the new forms, the new PED, there's a new simpler PED, the new entry rules for entry, and the showing guidance. And I will give you a caveat. If you are in a local area in California that is more strict than California, Los Angeles, I'm sorry, you still are under those local rules prevail. So I know that we've heard LA is under those rules. There's some areas in the Bay Area that are still not allowing open houses, and we hope that if you have a phone number, call them, show them our guidance, because they typically will, fall alongside of the state, and especially as their numbers go down. So open houses are allowed without appointments. Multiple groups are allowed on the property for open houses and showings. Face masks are still required, although that may change. We are still waiting to hear in California what's happening there. We know the federal CDC guidelines have changed. A sign-in is required, but not necessarily a PED. So I will drop a link in the chat here to our quick guide. It has all of the information you need, has all the website information you need. And if you have any questions, if you need to talk, or you just want to say hello, give me a call, email me, DM me, you know how to reach me. So I've been on almost 24-hour cycle at this point. So happy to help in any way. And that is my report.
Wow, it's like hot and juicy kind of a report. Like there's people who are all woohoo in the chat. So I'm so thankful that there's good news, and hopefully this is the start of all kinds of amazing news.
Exactly.
Every single week we've got good stuff. Well, you notice that one of our troublesome trio here is MIA. Our dearest Leslie is moving today, and so she is not here with us, but everybody just send her all sorts of amazing positive energy and vibes, because we all know if there's any group of people who understand the stress of moving, it is us. So send her all the love and happiness and all the good sprinkles. She'll obviously be coming to us live next time from her new digs. So that'll be very, very exciting. So Leslie, if you are by chance watching, if you're in the moving truck, I don't know where you are, but if you are, just know we're here thinking about you. Okay, so as promised, we have two amazing women with us. Now, the beauty of this combination is that Sabrina and Barb are truly, they were part of our very first group of wave makers. I am WomanUP wave makers. And both of them have been so fierce about sharing and building the WomanUP community since the beginning, but also they have incredible leadership stories, not only in brokerage, but outside in the association, in women's council. And so the layers of leadership and around starting a brokerage and finding the right community to support you during that, these ladies have it down. For those of you who don't know Barb or Sabrina, let me tell you a little bit about these two ladies. So let's start with Barb. Barbara Betts has been a licensed realtor since 2003, together with her handsome hubby. I'm adding that in for you. They own the Betts Realty Group, a boutique brokerage located in Long Beach, California. As broker owner, she has a clear focus on building a brokerage for the future with innovative ideas, creative thinking, and a family-like culture. That's so good. For her entire career, she has had a philosophy of real estate by relationship. Where she has consistently built a business that has resulted in a steady stream of repeat and referral business. I'm sure many of you have gotten her beautiful handwritten notes over the year. Come on, they're so wonderful. Recognized as a top producer, her true joy is in helping her clients reach their real estate goals, whether buying, selling, or investing. She's got a passion for her industry and gives back by teaching and coaching other realtors. She just had a whirlwind trip that included some of that, I believe, and is highly involved at the local, state, and national levels. In her spare time, you can find her spending time with her family, traveling, or enjoying a good glass of cab somewhere. Next, Ms. Sabrina. Sabrina's been a realtor for over 14 years. Early in her career, Sabrina served as a mentor for new agents at one of the larger brokerages in Fresno before opening Brown & Brown Real Estate. We're going to find out all about that. A brokerage that focuses on a culture of training, servant leadership, collaboration, and teamwork. Her passion for the real estate industry shows through her service and advocacy. Sabrina serves as, okay, put your seatbelt on. 2021 First Vice President of Women's Council of REALTORS, California, member of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Task Force for National Women's Council, member of the Finance and Budget Committee for National Women's Council, director at Madera Association of REALTORS, advisor for the Asian American Real Estate Association Central Valley, and founding member of the Realtist of Fresno, California, or Fresno County. Sabrina's 2001 appointments include strategic planning and finance of the California Association of REALTORS and diversity committee at NAR. Oh my goodness. And to wrap it all in a bow, as I mentioned at the beginning, both of these women were original wave makers, and they're joining us for the third year in a row as 2021 wave makers. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us today. Oh, love it, love it, love it. So we would love to know, and Sabrina, let's start with you. What inspired you to go out on your own?
Craziness. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe a little.
No, it's something I had wanted to do, but it wasn't really planned. My husband said, I needed to take care of my mom. And so I was mentoring other agents and it was taking a lot of my time. He goes, just go open your own brokerage. He goes, just go do it. And so it was really him saying, just go do it. You can do it. And what's really crazy, because it wasn't planned. I went and signed a lease and jumped in. That was it, and I feel like if you're going to go for something, just go all in. And yeah, that's where it came. Just a little crazy.
I love that. I love that. I love the husband element in there, right? Like he's an excellent co-conspirator, Sabrina.
Yeah, he is.
I love that. How about you, Barb? What inspired you to step out into your own?
Well, you guys could probably tell my story for me, and I'm proud to say that. But for those of you that don't know, I'd always been contemplating it. It was always stuck in the back of my mind. I got my broker's license to just further my education in real estate and just kind of have that under my belt. And I always said that I would never open my own brokerage unless the culture where I was at shifted or just wasn't what I wanted to be a part of anymore. And I never really thought it would happen as soon as it did, until I went to WomanUP in 2017. And or was it the beginning of 18? It was the beginning of 18. And I just heard story after story after story after story on stages of women who had done it before me. And I got to know a few other amazing brokers, and they just kind of called me out and they just said, why don't you have your own brokerage? And I gave them every excuse that I was currently telling myself. And I will admit they were stories that I was telling myself. And I got in the car. I had my team with me. I had 3 agents on my team. Fun fact, I have all females except for my poor husband. Say a prayer for him every day. But it's still that way today, ladies. It's still all females. And I said to them, if Harold and I opened our own company, would you guys come with us? And all 3 of them said, when can we leave? And that was it.
I remember when you told the story. So you were right at the first time around. So it was June 2017 in Pasadena.
Okay, that was right.
You were totally right.
Totally.
It was in Pasadena. I thought it was such a cute hotel.
Yep.
And, none of us had really been in each other's space quite yet. I mean, there have been, of course, at other association events at, BrokerCon or the YPN events or Women's Council events, but never like all the women all at once in one place. And there were so many little pockets of conversations happening in the hallways. And Sarah and I and Leslie often kind of giggle, we're like, did we see that conversation happen? Like,
I know for a fact that Leslie did not, because she was inside doing Soul Cycle, and the Soul Cycle guy, and I just was done. I could not handle anymore, and I had to go out in the hallway. So I know for a fact what you ladies may have, but Leslie was inside. I know that.
Oh, I love it. Well, this is, I would love for everyone who is watching live or catching the replay, whether it's from the blog or the YouTube or wherever you're watching it, do you have a story? Like, what was your inception story? This has been a really fun process for all of the brokers who are joining us this month to think of, when was that moment? What was that conversation? Who was there? what were we doing? Were we eating? Were we standing in a hallway at a conference, hanging out on the couch with the hubby? It's such an important thing to remember our inception story, right? That moment where that idea really sparked that flame inside of us. So if you know yours, we'd love, of course, to read it in the comments below, and you can always share your story on the website. But I think the beauty of both of these is you weren't like standing somewhere on an island unto yourself saying, I am going to do this. You both had amazing people surrounding you. Oh, I love that.
Yep.
And part of the beauty also is the twists and turns that starting your own brokerage can take. And I know a lot of the people listening would love to know a little bit about that journey and maybe where you are today. So let's start with you, Barb.
So it's been amazing. Honestly, it really, we continue to grow. We continue to fill our team with amazing, amazing agents who really believe in what we're doing and what we're all about. I think that I really thought it honestly was, is there challenges? Of course, we sell real estate, right? So the challenges come with what we do. They don't come with the brokerage, right? And I'm sure we're going to talk about some of those specific things, through this conversation, but really it's been amazing. We continue to grow. I just wish I would have done it sooner. That's my only advice in what am I up to now and how's it going is I just wish I would have done it sooner. I just think about if I would have done it a couple of years before, how much further along we could be, right? So really no regrets. It's been amazing so far. And we've just enjoyed growing and growing, with the right people.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Before we hop over to Sabrina, one of the things that I saw in your social feed over the last 16 months, Barb, is your overcoming of the challenges out loud. And I really, Sabrina will ask you this too, so you'll have a little bit more time to think about it. But this concept of like when you both started your brokerages, you weren't like, oh, I know there's going to be a pandemic while I'm doing this, and I've got my little plan ready to go. But you really switched a lot of things that you were doing in person virtually. So. I think that that's a key, that resilience mindset that you had. And I really, do you have a favorite thing that you did that this year, that when you were dealing with everything that was going on, that you did that just really brought your community together?
Yeah, definitely. I would say it's obviously we all had to pivot really quickly. We of course pivoted virtually. Thank God I knew Zoom and was a Zoom user prior to the pandemic because I would have been lost. And I think for us, what we did, two things. Number one, the pandemic forced me as a leader to lead by example. I didn't have time to create a pity party. I didn't have time to crawl into a hole because different than just being an agent in a brokerage, I had a whole group of women following me. And if I crawled in a hole and showed how scared I really was, now was I authentic and did I tell the truth and did I tell them how scared I was? Of course. But if I would have operated from a mentality of the world's ending, then they would have all followed me. And so it really forced me to step up as a leader and realize that I've got 10, if you will, little children watching me, because as a broker, the agents are watching you. And then secondarily to that, one thing that we really did that made a huge difference in, I think, our culture and our team's energy was when we hop on our meeting every single Tuesday, and yes, we have a meeting every single Tuesday. When we have our meetings, and we're still doing this today, I made them start the meeting off with, tell me something good that happened this week, because I wanted them to focus on what they were overcoming. And it could have simply just been, I got the kids all to do their schoolwork without fighting for the day, right? A lot of the successes were not real estate. They were being a mom. They were dealing with homeschooling kids and a husband that's working at home in a 2-bedroom home with 3 kids. I mean, it's those kinds of stories that they were overcoming little daily challenges that were turning into wins. And I just focused on the positive as much as I possibly could. And it's shown me that a lot of times in real estate, we just focus on the negative. We're super reactive. And no matter if there's a pandemic or not, there's a different way to operate in positivity.
So much learning. And I think some of that amazing good stuff will stick, right? Let's hope it does.
Yep.
What about you, Sabrina? What's your journey been like? What are you up to now? It's been a while since you opened.
Yeah, it's been a while, and we're growing and we're moving along. And I did not realize how similar Barb and I are, our brokerages are. I have mostly women. I do have 3 men. They rarely come in because our office is pink. I don't know. But it's women, and we're growing and moving along. And just because we were doing a lot of virtual stuff because we had agents in other areas, when the pandemic hit, it was easy for us just to adjust. And we had our the one thing we did change was weekly, just check-ins with each other to make sure that we were good. Every week anyway, we do Fridays, which was this morning. We have a check-in and everybody shares what they had going on, what good things happened, in their business and their family. What do they need help with, and so those types of things. And I just think building that culture has really helped us just hone in of who we are and who we want to be and the people we want to attract. So we're growing slowly, but we're growing with the right people.
Is there like a certain one thing that you think your agents are really like, let's have this stick forever, even though it was born out of a global pandemic? Like, what was that for you?
I think the one thing is just making sure that we're all okay. They actually take care of each other. It's just like we have our group chat, and if anybody needs anything, they put it in, just like right now, because I know I'm sick, but an agent just left some food outside my door. So it's out there right now. And just because she knows I didn't ask her to do that, but just knowing that we take care of each other. And that's the one thing that will stick.
That is really beautiful. And I actually saw something way back when we were working, I don't know, 20-hour days, that one of your agents brought you a sandwich, like making sure you ate. Like that is amazing support. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Food and wine. Always, well, your broker, do you hear that? Your broker's always happy for food or wine. I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah, we take care of each other. And I think that's important. Especially as being women, this business is already tough, and we have other factors that we have to deal with on a daily basis, raising our kids, running our household, now running a business, so we need that extra layer of support. And I think that if you're at a brokerage that offers that, you're going to be more successful.
I needed that right now, and my kids were driving me crazy.
You always know when the little mic mute goes on Sarah's side, it's a little walking in the room. You always know. So before we get to the next, like, what do you wish you knew? One of the questions that's come in a couple of times is like, how did you know how to start your brokerage? Like, how did you know? What did you do? What was the first thing you did? Barb, how about you? Let's start with you on that one.
So phone a friend, right? I mean, calling other amazing brokers across the state, and frankly, friends across the nation, because you definitely need advice from California brokers, because we all know where the state we live in. We operate a little differently in California, right? We do have different rules and different things that we have to put into place that some states don't have to. So for legality reasons and kind of how you form your brokerage and, your policies and procedures manuals and what kind of insurances you need, I mean, you definitely want to talk to some California people. But as far as how you organize your culture and your core values and your team and your lead generation and what you provide and what you don't, and splits and commissions and how your company functions, you can gather that from anywhere. And so I was grateful to have just an incredible support network of other brokers who had been pushing me for a very long time as well. And one of them is my very dear best friend in Richmond, Virginia. We've been best friends for 8 years through real estate, and she owns her own boutique brokerage in Richmond. And so she just told me everything I needed to know. And then I pick and chose what I thought spoke to me versus things that, I don't really want to do it that way. And then I would say it quickly becomes trial and error. And so there is not a brokerage in a box. If you're looking for it, you're not going to find it. And so much of it has to be what is most important to you at the end of the day. What's most important to you? Is it number of agents? That's a completely different model than what I have, what Sabrina has. Is it profitability? Is it brand, awareness in a community? Do you want to take over an area? Or do you want to do what I did, which is create a hybrid team culture where we really are a team functioning as a brokerage? There's no right or wrong answer to that, but you've got to figure out what you want it to look like first and then work backwards. You can't just say, oh, I need to do the policies and procedures manual. Okay, great. Well, what's going to go in it? How do you function, right? So my advice would be figure out what the end looks like, figure out what your ideal company looks like, and then work backwards from there.
That shines a light on the mentorship program, right? So there's the mentorship program, which is that if you got questions, you want to start, just exploring, right? Those exploratory conversations. If you hit the mentorship platform that's over on the Facebook group, that's a perfect spot for that, right? Those are a great place to ask those questions. If you don't have a broker in your area you want to emulate, that's super important. In California, obviously, there's women like Lori Namazi, who we have on the wisdom session next week, who live for things like operations and policies, and like that typically is not in the lane of a sales focused person. So it's really good to know your lane.
Help you write that manual.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And
true.
One more piece of advice is your best bet is lean on brokers that are out of your area, right? Because I'm much more likely to share very openly to someone in San Diego or Northern California than someone who's going to open a brokerage and compete with me. It's just human nature. I want to help people. True. But really, if you can try to find those people that are at the other side of the state from you, you're gonna really get a lot of great information.
Absolutely. Well, and we also have the academy, the WomanUP Academy. And Barb, you actually taught one of the classes in there, right? What was yours on?
I don't have one in the WomanUP Academy.
Not in the academy, in the for CAR. Sorry, for CAR, for education. Yeah. So there's all sorts of courses, in particular at the association level. Even again, the WomanUP Academy has things like risk management and putting things like policies together. I do love what you said, and I think that it's important worth repeating, which is make sure that you have the legal side of things with somebody local.
Yeah.
And absolutely. The vision casting, and maybe that small, tighter kind of like mastermind group with people from across the country. Yes. That's a great reminder for everyone, because every state is different. So
can I also add to that as well? I don't know if you can hear me, but I will give that caveat as well. It's not a decision you take lightly. Nor should it be, especially in California, but I'm sure that's the case everywhere, right? We need to make sure that, you need to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row and you're tapping into the right resources and education and professional development before taking that leap. Yes. And that was my public service announcement, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Let's just put it out there.
Yeah. And you don't think it is a big deal until you jump in. When you jump in, then you realize, oh yeah, this is a big deal. There's a lot of more bells and whistle, nuts and bolts that you really have to be aware of. And I know that CAR, when I started, CAR had a broker kit that I got. They had a policy procedure manual that I found. So a lot of my resources came from actually the California Association of REALTORS. They have things for people that want to start a brokerage. And so that was kind of where my research started. And then I was part of the Women's Council. And when some of these women found out I was starting a brokerage, they were more than happy to give me advice and share information with me, like what to do and what not to do. You know, don't bump your head, you know. And the beauty of having your own brokerage is creating the culture you want to be in every day.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I think that's the most important. I want to be in my office every day. I want to talk to my people every day. And that is, I think, the most important thing to me personally. Like Barb said, it could be a number of agents, it could be like profitability, you know, you could have all these different things. But for me, the most important thing is, do I want to show up every day? And do I want to be around those people that are in my office every day? And that is the most important to me.
I love that. Well, and I love that, you know, around that whole, the wishing, which the what you wish you would have known was things that you've already woven in, right? Like, oh, I wish I would have known a little bit more of the resources, and then you found them, right, in your community. You wish you would have done it sooner, and here you are. Sarah, let's hop to your next cue, because I really want to know some stories.
Of course, my whole household is just losing their minds right now. My dad is my contractor, and he's like doing stuff. So excuse the background noise.
You can't hear it.
Good, because I can definitely hear it. That being said, I'd love to hear, we love lessons, right? And I have my favorites. We'll call them favorite little mistakes that turn into a learning opportunity. So what about you? Like, in terms of owning your brokerage, what is your favorite lesson that you go to and you reiterate and you share it all the time? Let's start with you, Sabrina.
Don't try to be like someone else. So I think when I first started, I was like, oh, I need to do this, because the other brokerages are doing this. And so don't do that. Don't do that. Be yourself, be genuine. Don't try to be like the other brokerages. I thought, I really did. I thought I had to have all these things that the other brokerages had. I thought I had to do things the way the other brokerages did them. And then I realized I'm fabulous. And so, and I don't have to do those things. I could just do them the way I want to do them. So
let's dig in there for a second, because what was the moment? Like, was there a catalyst? Was there one of your co-conspirators that were just rooting you out? Like, where did you kind of come up with that lesson?
Well, it was really funny, is because one of the other brokerages in town, they had this program, and I just thought I had to have this program. So, and just realizing I spent a lot of money on this program that no one was using, that I wasn't even using, that was not beneficial to what we were doing with inside the brokerage. And so that would happen when I filed my taxes, and I seen that on my taxes. Like, I paid money for this and we didn't even use it. That just right there was for me, like, don't feed into what everybody else is doing. Do what works for you.
Yeah. And paying attention to the ops, right? Like, if you're not listening and not watching, that money could just fly out the door.
Oh yeah.
And that's not money well served.
No.
100%.
Yeah, definitely don't want to waste money. And whatever you bring into your brokerage, it has to be something that's going to be beneficial to the brokerage, to the agents, and to your clients. If you look at it that way, I think that's probably the best way to look at what you're bringing in, and then tracking your numbers, tracking how much you're spending on things and what your return is on those things. So.
We can see it, Sarah. It's okay.
Oh, Sarah, you are
how about you, Barb?
So for me, it's stick to your guns on culture. Don't ever waver on your core values.
No.
You have to know as a broker who's a fit and who's not, and don't apologize for it. In your gut, if an agent or a team member, staff is not a good fit, walk away. End the relationship. I have made 2 very cardinal gut checking mistakes. And I knew. And I know my profile, my personality profile pretty well. And one of my biggest traits is that I want to see the best in everybody. And I think I can not fix everybody. Like I'm going to go tell you, you got a problem and fix you, but I feel like I can help people overcome things. And so I just thought, no, this person won't be like that, even though I knew they were like that 20 years ago when I knew them in a different life. And it burned me big time. And so sticking to your gut, staying with your core values, and having core values that are more than just words. So we have core value statements, be a professional in all that we do, treat our clients and our team like family, things like that, that are not just the words, but they mean something in a statement. And I now have a very firm conversation with everyone that comes on our team. If you violate one of those core value statements, you're done. There's going to be no further conversation, because if you can't agree to these things that are truthfully just being a good person, then you're not a good fit for our company. And I just think that I had to grow some thick skin in the first year or two to get past that.
Yeah. I think that there's so much power, in particular when women who naturally have more of the feminine energy, the connection to intuition. We all have it.
Yeah.
However, women over, millennia have really honed that. When we see it in research in every industry, that women in leadership, when they lean on their intuition, when they listen to it, they feel the butterflies, they feel the tingle on the back of their neck, and they go with that, it is always the powerful choice. And you know what, the powerful choice doesn't mean it's always the right choice or the it felt good choice, but at least you feel empowered because you listen. So I love that. And I think that it's important to find a mentor. If that's how you want to lead, then you need to find a mentor who leads that way, because not everyone leads that way, right? And so that's very, very important. Super quick, rapid question for both of you. Do either of you use personality tests? We got that question from Cindy in the chat. Do you use there's some brokerages that I know use a form of disc. Like, do either one of you do? And if you do, what do you use?
I use two. I use the color test, and I also use the disc. And we do the disc every year at our business planning. So we redo it every year. And then agents coming in, I actually use the color test, because I just want to see where their service level is. And that gives you a better gauge on, how do they serve. And so I like both of those.
Can I ask what the color test is? I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Oh, so it's a test where you go in and it asks you a series of it's real simple. It's one page. It asks you a series of are you most like this? And it'll give you 4 little words, and then you kind of rate 1 through 4, and then you add them all up, and then it will tell you at the end what color you are. And so when you're looking for maybe an admin, you want the gold, because they are helpers. And so, it's just a good way to kind of see what their service level is, rather than what their personality is. And I like that one.
Ooh, I love that. Well, let's definitely make sure to drop the link in comments post show for that, Sabrina, because I know there's going to be people interested. How about you, Barb? Which do you use?
Yeah, I don't use the personality test when bringing people on. We're very involved in Buffini companies, so my agents go through a heritage profile once they're part of our company, which teaches me how to communicate with them, teaches me where team members are going to clash, right, with different personalities, and not that because they clash, they're not a good fit. It just gives me awareness of kind of what everyone's trigger points are. And it also helps me coach them and lead them better in knowing kind of how they're wired to, as far as, personality and time and, energy and those types of things. So that's what we do, but I don't do any tests upon incoming. I've had not the best luck with those, quite frankly. I hate to think people are like this, but sometimes people are answering the questions the way they think that you want them to answer them. And so I don't find them very authentic when people are just kind of taking it as a condition to be a part of something, versus when they're taking something once they're already a part of something.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, I mean, you have to trust your instincts. So like if that has really worked for you in the past, great.
Absolutely.
And something that you said that I really want to highlight, that not everybody has to be the perfect fit to every single value you have. It's there's also the side of honoring values. It doesn't have to be their own personal value. And that's a really beautiful distinction, Barb, is you can actually lead people where they are, and they can honor and respect the values of an organization without having those exact same words on their walls. So that's beautiful, beautiful advice. Okay, so as we're coming up upon, I can't believe it, we're almost done. Let's do a what's next. Like, what is on your vision board for what's next?
Oh, wow. I don't know. Just to continue to grow. I think that's really what's on my vision board. And we actually do a vision board every year when we do our business planning. So there's all kinds of fun things on that vision board. So I don't know. I don't know. I just want to continue to grow and see where it takes me. Yeah.
I love that. I did see you say in one of our past weekly shows that you were like, hey, I'm thinking about expanding. So we will all hold space for you as you put that together, and we will be here to be your cheering section for sure. How about you, Barb?
So same as Sabrina, continuing to grow. I think coming off the pandemic, just taking a deep breath for a minute, right? You know, being a practicing broker has challenges. I do sell real estate still with my husband, and it's a lot running a brokerage, managing 12 agents, plus, you know, your own business and your own clients, plus all the stuff that I do in organized real estate, and then my real passion of teaching and training. So the worlds are kind of colliding for me right now, but what I am working on with my amazing husband and my amazing consultant and business coach is Barb getting out of his way a little bit more, because he is an amazing salesperson, and letting him take more of the day-to-day. You can tell how hard this is for me. Can you guys tell? Letting him take more of the day-to-day real estate sales off my plate, so that I can really do what I know I'm designed to do, which is, quite frankly, truthfully, to the real estate community that I'm talking to, my gifts aren't really being used sitting on a listing appointment or, you know, showing a house. It's in other ways, and I need to start using those gifts in a bigger way. And so, but it all just requires me getting out of his way. That's really the only obstacle left. So working on it. Check back in a few months and see if I'm still, like, you know, functioning.
We'll be watching on Instagram stories.
Yeah, see if I follow through. I'm gonna have the whole WomanUP community being like, why are you showing a house? Stop showing a house.
You said it here.
I know. Hey, accountability.
We're gonna need to do a sequel, because there's so many questions
right?
that are coming in for that could be another show, but I think our time is short, and I would love for you to share, you know, final words of wisdom to all of our audience who are thinking about contemplating opening or growing their brokerage. So let's start with you, Barb.
Just do it. If it's in your heart, if you're thinking about it, you need to do it. Just get out of your own way and just do it. My favorite quote ever is, she believed she could, so she did. And it's always been my favorite quote. And it's like,
I have that as a bracelet,
right?
Yeah,
it's like, I love it. And it's like, dang it. Why didn't I follow that sooner? But once I believed in myself, and once I knew I could do it, just do it. Don't overthink it. Don't try to plan out every detail, unless it's the legality side of the business, but don't try to figure out how everything's going to go, because you're going to twist and turn 20 times. And you're going to continue to evolve, because that's what good leaders and business owners do.
So good.
What about you, Sabrina?
I'm going to say, let fear be your fuel. So, you know, most of the time we don't do things because we're afraid. And, you know, you think of, well, what if I fail? What if I don't fail?
Yeah.
What if you actually succeed?
Yeah.
And you only fail when you don't try. That's when you fail. So believe in yourself. Like Barb said, you have to believe in yourself. If you know that you have something to offer, that you can make a difference in other people's lives by opening your brokerage, then you need to do that.
Yep.
So let fear be your fuel, and just do it. Just do it. And then
I
reach
love
out,
it.
reach out and talk to people. They'll be more than happy to give you advice. I've never called anyone and had them not share information with me.
So
That's
good.
so good. And it reminds me of so many stories that have been shared on the WomanUP stage, either via Zoom or in person, that, the one thing that stopped us from starting our own or going out on our own or growing ourselves is ourself. So I love that. I love both of those. Amazing.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Well, we are at the end of the show. However, I do want to let everybody know who's here and who's like chomping at the bit. We will ask these questions of Sabrina and Barb and get their answers when they have a moment to help us out with that. And I'm also going to give these questions to Suzanne, who's the moderator for next week's wisdom session, which is a bit longer of time together. And we'll see if we can't get some of those other questions answered as well. However, we all know this about our community. If you've got that question, you can drop it on the Facebook group. And you will not only get one, you'll get two, you'll get five, you'll get 10 answers underneath it. So if you've got a question, make sure you jump over there. Again, we'll drop in the link to the wisdom session for next week. That is going to be so fantastic. Deeper dive on starting a brokerage. Ladies, Barb, Sabrina, thank you so much for your continuous support and encouragement of this community. You both have been so integral to the success and growth of this space. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, ladies. All right, everyone. Yes, have a great week. Great rest of your week, everyone.
Bye.
Weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.